This week we're going to explore how to build trust in our relationships with our clients. You probably do many of these things inadvertently because it's probably what's made you successful in your work so far. Study after study has found that the level of trust in the relationship with either clinicians in therapy or practitioners in the financial field is the crux of what makes change and what makes satisfaction within our clients. Much of your readings in Facilitating Financial Health covered these humanistic psychology principles that focus on how every single person that we come in contact, no matter what it looks like on the outside, is trying to achieve their best self. They call it self-actualization, but it really is like that weave in the cement. No matter what the environment is around the individual, they're trying to make something beautiful out of it. We have to have a trust in that natural propensity for their growth and honor their determination to find the best self. Dr. Britt called it the goo factors, which is if you stay in the sense of genuineness, empathy, warmth, with unconditional positive regard for who they are as an individual, they'll enjoy their sessions more. Another part of the principle is that we don't reach self-actualization or best health until there's congruence with who we want to be with who we actually are. So as a practitioner trying to help them, we have to remain non-judgmental. They call it beginner mind. We have to roll with the resistance, not try to combat it right away, but try to understand it and start questioning, using reflections to kind of explore where there's discrepancies between their real self and their ideal self. It's important that you avoid that role of expert. You don't want to go in there and tell them what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, tell them what to do, because honestly, with Google and the internet, they probably can find out what they should be doing. Your job is really getting into that beginner's mind of not knowing anything, pretending you don't know anything about them, no stereotypes, no beliefs around them, and really listen to their story. And then using open-ended questions, reflecting back on them, and summarizing statements to elicit a belief that they are capable of understanding their emotions and their money better. So really use that beginner's mindset of set aside everything you know and starting as if you know anything to learn about each client as an individual. In order for change to occur, there are three conditions within the client that has to be met. The person has to perceive a need for change. They need to see the discrepancy between where they are right now and where they want to be. They also need to feel confident that they are capable of making those changes. And that's why it's so important to collaborate with them instead of creating that expert role where you tell them what to do, because all you're doing is reinforcing this belief within them that they are not capable of doing it. And then finally, the readiness, or the person's ready to change, because a lot of times there are messages within them that have created ambivalence about changing. Yeah, they want to save money, but they also really get joy out of spending money. So you can do things like going slow, where you say, okay, we're not going to stop all your spending behaviors. Let's just cut one thing out a week that may not be necessary. Let's cut out one trip to the coffee shop, or change your trips to the coffee shop from cappuccinos to regular coffee just to save a little bit money. And just stay persistent in your belief that they are capable of the change, that they are ready, and that it is important that they make these changes. It's so surprising, or maybe not, that there's a whole chapter on listening. But honestly, no one really listens in our real world. You're oftentimes thinking about what you want to respond, you're daydreaming about what just happened to you, or you're making assumptions about what they're really meaning when they say what they say. So this chapter is so necessary to change how we are relating to our client. First of all, we have to actually listen. So, but then we have to establish rapport. In our early trainings, therapists are taught to lean forward when our clients are talking, nod our heads when we agree, make sure our breathing and our heart rate's in a good place, because honestly, there's new research by a field of researchers that they call HeartMath that says that our pulse and heart rates will impact the people in the room with us. Um, are there times when you can sense that someone's nervous or angry, even if they haven't said a word? The HeartMath researchers believe that we sense their heart rate more than we think. Then they talk about starting with an invitation for them to talk, not an explanation about what we're going to do or what we want them to do. So I like to know what brings you here today. And then be really careful about questions. There shouldn't be more than 3 questions in a row without reflecting back what you're hearing or summarizing back what you're hearing. Questions should always be open-ended versus closed questions. You don't want to lead them into saying what you want them to hear. I don't know if anybody's raised kids, but this is most true with kids, but it's true for everyone, that oftentimes if we ask a question like, are you anxious about retirement, it's so much easier to say, yes, I guess I am anxious. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Rather than, how do you feel about a retirement? Because then my kids have a chance to say, work is stressful and I'm looking forward to retirement. Or I see retirement as a time to travel. You get to learn so much more through that open-ended question. I kind of hinted back about how important reflections can be. They don't always have to be just to make sure that we're hearing our clients and also to establish that rapport that we really are listening, but rather it can also be strategic, where we pinpoint what we reflect back to either make our clients say, no, that's not it, I want to do something different, or yes, I am ready to make a change. And then finally, the last thing we talk about is self-disclosure, which is a huge issue in therapy and also in financial therapy. There's a great article. It used to be frowned upon in therapy to do self-disclosure. Therapists were seen to be supposed to be blank slates, to give this air of expert. But nowadays, we understand that self-disclosures can help develop a therapeutic alliance and foster self-exploration. It provides clients with a more authentic human-to-human communication that can foster a relationship. It also can relieve clients' apprehensions if you are discussing past mistakes or things you wish differently, to make them feel more confident in their ability to resolve struggles. Um, there's a great review of all articles written on the role of therapist self-disclosure that kind of talks about what are some of the demographics or characteristics of clients that may not be as open to self-disclosure, different gender, race, racial, religious, even things like age and education can make clients more or less welcome to self-disclosures. But the main caveat that I want to explain when you talk about self-disclosure is you have to understand why you have the desire to disclose something right now. Is it motivated by a client's need, or is it coming up from your own anxiety around an issue? So those are things to think about. This other article, Barnett, Psychotherapist Self-Disclosure, will also bring up some ethical and clinical considerations that you may want to think about when you use self-disclosure in your client sessions.